from Fox 5 New York. Venezuelan migrant arraigned for shooting NYPD officers. Claims gang smuggling guns into shelters. So once again, it does not matter how atrocious the crime is, which is clearly escalating. We remember it was only a couple months ago when they were fighting with the police in New York City, and now they are quite literally shooting at them, also occupying soccer fields so high school kids can't play. And he's still just a migrant. He only wants to come here to make a better life for himself, which I guess is technically kind of true, but he's doing it by taking complete advantage of the asylum system and absolutely terrorizing New Yorkers. And of course, he's Venezuelan because, as we know by now, they are literally cleaning the clocks of illegals from all around the world. And they want to talk about guns. Oh, gun, that's a national health crisis. We need to get the guns off the streets. But I highly doubt they're going to do anything about a criminal illegal who may be an upstanding human being, probably not because he's a gang member. But even if he was, as soon as you cross that border, you are a criminal. And they're smuggling guns into shelters. Absolutely unbelievable. But my name is Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm absolutely begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
It would help me a lot and it would cost you nothing. But if you wanted to help me even more and spend some money, you would buy my book, New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued, on Amazon.com. That link will be in the description.
Identified as a Venezuelan migrant accused of shooting two officers after they tried to pull him over for driving the wrong way. But prosecutors say his criminal activity goes much deeper than this one incident.
I'm sure it does. And are we, look, I guess we're at the point now where it's quite clearly a majority of Venezuelans. So would it be inappropriate to assume that a lot of these crimes are being committed by this same, breed of illegal immigrants?
Fox 5's Jessica Formosa joins us live from East Elmhurst with what he allegedly fessed up to. Jess.
Natasha and Teresa.
Wait, hang on. He allegedly fessed up to? He did or he didn't?
He said a lot, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But as you recall, this suspect came into this country illegally a year ago. He was arraigned on a number of charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder in the first degree. He used to live here at this shelter off Dimars Boulevard, but says he was kicked out. Now, he made a shocking confession to authorities, saying that he is a member of the vicious Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, and that gang is smuggling firearms into migrant shelters.
And maybe they'll tell us, but how are they getting the guns here to even begin with? Are they buying them from Native American criminals? They trekking them through the Darien Gap and then getting those through border security? What the hell is going on?
Leonardo Raul Castro Mata, the Venezuelan migrant who shot 2 police officers earlier this month, came face to face.
Bro, the Venezuelan migrant? This guy is quite literally a hardened criminal who shot at 2, not 1, but 2 police officers. And he's just a migrant.
Face with the judge this morning, the 19-year-old arrived in a wheelchair and didn't say a word, but prosecutors say he spoke at length with investigators, giving shocking details of that night and what he's been up to since he arrived in New York City. He told cops he worked for DoorDash and received the gun he used to shoot the officers from a friend.
Last night, I was coming home from work. I was in a car with my friend, and my friend, Jose Maita, gave me a bag with a gun in it and asked me to keep it for her.
The suspect confessing to police that he's a member of the notorious Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. According to audio recordings read by prosecutors, Mata claims he was recruited by a cousin to join the gang to do robberies. But the most...
And we remember there was a fact check on Washington, on NBC Washington, that said there's no proof that Joe Biden is letting in millions of criminals because Venezuela doesn't have any agreement with America to, disclose criminal history. Even though, that aside, you are still a criminal the moment you cross over that border illegally. What am I missing here?
Shocking claim, the gang has been smuggling guns into city-run shelters.
Tren de Aragua members were smuggling firearms into city shelters inside food delivery packages. That way they'll have to go through the metal detector.
On June 3rd, 2 NYPD officers attempted to pull him over for driving an unregistered scooter the wrong way on a one-way street in East Elmhurst. As police tried to pull him over, Mata ran off. Police chased him, and when they caught up with him, he resisted arrest. Mata allegedly fired at both officers, shooting Officer Christopher Abreu in the leg and Officer Richard Yaruso point blank in the front of his bulletproof vest.
This is absolutely insane. I can't imagine anybody would be on board with this. Well, I guess I could. Because if you are really a hardcore, like, leftoid who just hates everything, I guess, you might actually like this even more because these people are now shooting at the cops, which they notoriously hate. Unless they need help.
In court this morning, the ADA says Mata also said that shooting at police officers is what they do in his home country.
It is common practice for Tren de Aragua gang members to shoot at police officers because Venezuelan police officers shoot at gang members for minor infractions. Venezuelan police officers get shot often in my home country because criminals feel there is a chance of getting away.
He was once again held without bail.
This dangerous individual wasn't afraid to shoot a New York City police officer because he thought he was going to get away with it. Not in this country.
I don't know about that. It seems like they're getting away with plenty.
Now, Mata pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. Now, since he ratted out his gang, his attorney did ask the judge to keep him in protective custody. The judge did grant that request. Now, we did reach out to DoorDash. They just got back to us saying that they have no record of anyone by that name working for DoorDash. That's the latest we have from Elmhurst, Queens. I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News.
Obviously, these criminal illegals, the crimes just exponentially stack on top of each other, right? You show up illegally, you have to do something illegal to maintain the lifestyle, you have to do something illegal to prove your allegiance to the gang, and, he's in protective custody now because he ratted on them, right? Because they know that the gang is capable of doing anything. And here's another one, once again, from Fox 5 New York. NYPD confronting Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua in New York City.
Police are trying to tackle the rapidly escalating violent crime among Venezuelan gang members in the city who have gotten into New York.
They're trying to tackle this. I could think of one way that it could have been prevented, but of course we know that there's no evidence, right? There's no proof that Biden is letting in criminals all over the place.
Fox 5's Linda Schmidt talked to the NYPD, who says this crime wave is one of their greatest challenges. She joins us live from the newsroom now. Linda, what can you tell us tonight?
Well, basically what you just said right there, this is one of the NYPD's biggest challenges right now. Now, the NYPD expects the migrant Venezuelan gang crimes to actually get worse in this city.
How is it going to get worse? They're just going to completely take over. I've said it a million times, but that Row Hotel on 8th Avenue in New York is an absolute baby meal. They are quite literally breeding them while drinking Coronas and shooting at cops, shooting at security guards, missing the security guard, and of course, hitting a tourist. I don't know why you would be a tourist in New York, but that's a completely different story. So it's going to get worse, she says.
Before it gets better. They're waving the guns around.
Correct.
Waving guns and flashing gang signs on this video. The NYPD says these are suspected members of the ruthless Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, which has been infiltrating the U.S. for the last 2 years. NYPD Assistant Chief of Detectives Jason Savino telling me it is believed this video was made while the gang members were in Ecuador. And
look, of course, they say in the last 2 years, because this clearly was not happening when I lived in New York, right? Long gone are the days of an illegal who wants to, fly under the radar and, of course, work at a landscaping company or in a restaurant. Now they are coming here and quite literally taking over, knowing that there's going to be zero consequences.
its purpose is to recruit new members.
Then, when you fast forward, you see the same individuals where? In Times Square. So that's our concern.
The NYPD says Tren de Aragua has been making it over the border with the migrant influx and is getting established in New York.
What we do see is they are trying to grow.
The gang has gone from petty crimes like
Of course, they're trying to grow. They're trying to recruit people, maybe regular Americans, I suppose, on top of quite literally breeding these people. And do you think, 10 years, maybe that's a long time? But, bro, I would be under the impression that in 10 to 13 years, they're going to have their own homemade, right, anchor babies committing these crimes.
shoplifting and stealing cell phones and jewelry to all-out shootouts in the streets.
Yes, and that's what I said. It's quite literally escalating.
Alleged gang member Bernardo Raul Mata recently confessing to police that gang members are being instructed to shoot police officers. Mata is charged with shooting 2 officers.
So not only are they shooting at cops because that's what they're used to doing back in Venezuela, which to that I say, you should have just stayed there and you could take them all out. Who cares? So they're doing that because that's what they come from, but they're also quite literally instructing the younger gang members to do that. And they're worried about Orange Man on tax fraud or whatever. Of course, ignoring all the crimes of the Bojiden crime family, but that's a different story.
After they stopped him for riding a moped the wrong way on a one-way street in Queens. In court, an assistant district attorney revealing what Mata told investigators about the gang.
Trende Aragua members are smuggling firearms into city shelters inside food delivery packages. That way they don't have to go through the metal detector.
Guns being smuggled into migrant shelters in food delivery packages that are not being screened. The gang violence is escalating, and now drugs are coming into the picture.
We're just starting to see a drug called Tusi, which is a pink cocaine type substance.
What? We had fentanyl, then we had Trank, which is fentanyl with some sort of weird horse tranquilizer or something, and now there's another one that these people are smuggling into migrant shelters to, I guess, sell or maybe do and create more babies. This is absolutely insane.
It seems like this is a huge challenge.
It's as big of a challenge as we faced.
The NYPD has faced difficult challenges in the past and is determined to win this fight to keep New Yorkers safe.
We're having success. We're taking down networks of individuals. We're up to the task and we'll accomplish
You're
it.
taking down networks of individuals, and what are you doing with them? Where are they going?
Now, today I also reached out to City Hall about security and metal detectors at the city-run migrant shelters, and I asked them why food containers are not being screened for possible weapons or drugs. Now, I was told those items are supposed to be screened every single time. And now the city is now retraining security personnel at all city-run migrant shelters. Natasha, Therese.
And they're just going to keep calling them migrant shelters. All right, fine. I guess that's what they want you to do. So I'm not going to give up. But they're quite clearly criminal illegals. And we know by now. I mean, Bojiden, he talked to the president of Mexico, and I get it. Mexico is completely different from Venezuela. But that guy said, oh, we're not going to really take on the cartels because basically because he is part of the cartel, and Bojiden, I mean, he's not part of anything. He doesn't know what's going on. He's an empty suit puppet, but he is clearly him and his regime, his ilk, are clearly criminals along with the rest of the democratic regime or machine or whatever. And it is obvious by now that the criminal politicians will, of course, breed criminal Americans. Sometimes they'll throw the book at them, right? If you try to fraud, do some PPP fraud, they're going to get rid of you. But now you've got criminal illegals realizing that nothing's going to happen, so they're shooting at the cops on top of the criminal Americans who are taking their cues from the criminal politicians.